We're ready. Here we go. It is Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. Look, another one of those fabulous numbers, 222022. But we've already dedicated a talk to, that kind of topic and idea. And on Sunday, we welcomed here in the Northern Hemisphere. I know that some of you are from the Southern Hemisphere, and we'll make sure that the topic is all inclusive, but I'll just give an opening from my point of view here in the Northern Hemisphere. On Sunday, we welcome the spring equinox. And an equinox means, that there's a balance between the time of day and the time of night. So the night and the day are balanced and even. And that's, it really is at that turning point where we start to move towards summer. And for those in the Northern Hemisphere, it was the fall equinox. So it definitely does resonate with South and North as well. And so, from here, this is where it changes. For Southern, it gets darker. For us, it starts to get lighter. And what was pretty, just amazing. I think a lot of times in our lifetime, we kind of feel like nature is a place where we go to, right? We go on a hike, we go on a walk, we take a trip, we go somewhere that represents nature to us. But I'll tell you, on cue, like on point, in the morning of the spring equinox, the birds were chirping and singing a new tune in the morning. It was unbelievable. And I want to hear from others here as well. The flowers bloomed as if someone called them up and said, now it's the time. And I've put a picture here of our amazing blue bonnets, our flower here in Texas, and it's the blue bonnets. It's marvelous. It's miraculous, really, because you just get these fields covered, just like you see here in this picture, purple and just gorgeous colors. Yes, Jay, I'll get to you in just a minute. I didn't even say hello. I just went right into it. I didn't say hello to Eddie and to Leroy. Good to see you. And Stu and Renee and Alec is here, and Colette, Comfort Smith, Deborah, Elfin, Gwyneth, Jay, Joseph, Jewel, Kelly, Marta's here, Rima's here, Teresa's here. Great. You see how excited I am for springtime. No, I love it. And what happened here in Texas, which I want to share with you, and hopefully each of you will kind of share also from wherever you are in the world, is that Lady Bird Johnson, President Johnson's wife, she preserved the wildflowers of Texas. And let's see if I can coordinate and do a few things at once, and I'll change my picture as I speak. And so what she did is, you'll see these fields on the sides of the highways. Yes, I got it. So this is, for instance, the Indian paintbrush and the blue bonnets. It's just gorgeous. And not only on the sides of the highways. So yeah, you'll see how I'm connecting it to the beginning of the talk, right? The houses, these are all protected flowers. So you don't even cut the grass when these flowers bloom. And then, after these fields of purples and reds, you get these fields of the fire wheels. You see, this is just on a side of a road. It's gorgeous. It's breathtaking. For those of you that thought that Texas is a desert with, with the big fields and ranches and all that, we have that, but it mostly, not mostly, but in springtime, it looks like this. And so really gorgeous. And it's like, as if someone, like I said, on cue, and someone just called up and said, it's springtime, let's awaken. And if we said sometimes nature, we think that, you need to go out of your way to see it. You can see it in the highway. You can hear the birds right out the side of your window. You can notice these changes in these cycles by just doing your ordinary things. I went to the supermarket on Friday, and I parked my car, and there was a beautiful tree in bloom. My trees, I have a lot of fruit trees. My plum trees are in full bloom now. And it's just, it's gorgeous. And there's no voyage or, expedition that needs to happen in order to acknowledge that. And I think it's important that we take a moment and we recognize and we see and we really acknowledge these changes, because we're part of these cycles. You see, they're not outside of us. They're not happening in a different location outside of us. They're happening, and they affect us as well. They affect us in our mood. They affect us in the way that we plan out our day. If it's a cold and rainy day, we're not going to look to go outside. We'll do most of our things inside. And I must kind of say, just so that I'm 100% honest, yesterday we had a tornado watch here in Texas. So, Texas has its mood swings. So definitely we canceled all our plans and stayed home without weather. But today it's beautiful, sunny, and gorgeous again. So we know it's springtime. And just that, even acknowledging that, I think is an important understanding, because we are often the same way as well. And, spring also represents new life, and new life is very fragile. There's last year when we had that huge freeze, I don't know if some of you were here, some of you might remember, we had a really profound freeze in Texas, and it froze up. My peach tree was just about to bloom, and it froze all the buds, and that's it. There were no peaches for us last year. And so this year it's like you're going to the trees, you're just checking, okay, is everything okay? New life is fragile. When you want to enjoy that, think about life, even a woman giving birth, or any animal giving birth, or any, life is fragile. And there has to be that sense of it arrived on the 20th in Canada. Oh, great. I'd love to hear all these stories. See, I'm sharing from my point of view, and then all of you can share from your point of view. And so that energy of being born anew, new life, rejuvenation, springtime, that sense of or that essence is something that needs to be nourished and looked after. Another thing that really goes with springtime is spring cleaning. You often kind of clean out the closets or change out the winter for the summer and spring. Even if you're in the fall, you're probably doing the same. You're changing out the closets, you're changing out things. And oftentimes we'll just kind of cleanse out the things that we don't need. Maybe we'll even go on a eating cleanse, of some sort. And so to kind of tie it all together and to show you how we're going to make this a topic that is very universal and not depending on a certain time, if you're in the fall or in the spring, when we can acknowledge these cycles of life, like the cycles of the moon and the cycles of the seasons and our own cycles, we have, each and every one of us, great change in screen there, Stu. Each and every one of us has hormonal cycles, men and women as one. Okay, we go through these mood changes and these hormonal changes naturally, and even as we get older, right, there is a change in that. And so to begin to see life in that way, and to understand that we need to establish that balance, that just like the equinox, where there is a balance between the light and the day, we need to establish a balance that is nurturing and honoring of where we are in our cycle right now. And that's going to be, that can always change. Balance is a moving target. What once was balance for us, might not be balanced the next day. And so we really have to be self-observant. And those moments of stepping outside of ourselves and out of our mundane kind of tasks of going to the supermarket or picking up this or doing a chore or whatever, and being aware and alert of what is happening around us and what is changing around us, and how we can then use these changes to support our mood and what we need. And if we take it into our business, then that definitely as well, because it's going to change how we sit in front of our computer, and how we sit and do the tasks on hand, and how we are approaching ourselves internally inside of our mind. And if we can give ourselves these checks and balances, these points where, all right, we are in this new cycle. And for me, it is right now springtime, and I acknowledge this cycle, and there is this energy of rebirth. And here are the things that I need to do in my lifetime to support this time, this period right now. It maybe doesn't look like 3 months ago, but I'm acknowledging the point in time that I am in right now, and to use those energies around us to grow our business. So maybe I choose today to work outside. to incorporate a walk on my day so that I can, really enjoy the fresh air and the beautiful flowers and the nature that is around me. And so on that walk, I can be taking notes. I can be writing out ideas. Business today and work today doesn't have to look like it did 20 years ago, where we had to be stationary in one point. And definitely Rachel has proved that through her low-hanging system. But it's up to us to find that balance point and that place where we can, first of all, nurture ourselves. Remember that our life is fragile and our life is sensitive and our life is, we are now becoming this new person, new business owner, new, new person, just like we spoke about new life. We are now blooming and becoming this new business owners, our new business owners. And I recognize a few new names here. And so we definitely have students that just joined. Hey, Deborah, good to see you. And Joseph joined in the meantime. And, so giving ourselves that, first of all, acknowledging where we are right now and what it is, as far as a time for us, and then taking that into the most healthiest space for our business. How can we use this specific time? I'm going to speak to spring. You can speak to a different time to fuel our creativity, to tackle, new and exciting projects. A lot of times in springtime, you'll see, even the animals get busy and bustling, even I was telling you about my plum tree. Unbelievable the amount of life that is on that tree, and just buzzing and busy, and moving from wasps this big to like little tiny bees and insects and stuff, and just like everyone's on this buzz of like, wow, look, the flowers are out, we can gather the nectar, we can do this. And so if we can channel that and see it as something that we can use for inspiration, like, wow, we get to tackle this new and exciting project that we've signed up for LHS. And, we are part of this period of rebirth. We're part of this, miraculous time on earth, that it is springtime, and we're lucky enough to be alive in this time. We're lucky enough to be able to participate. And so, taking the time to see that and to see how we can incorporate this in our life and find this newfound balance. It doesn't have to look like the balance that was in winter, right? It doesn't. It can look like a newly found balance point where we feel more awakened. We feel more revived, alive. Those are some of the feelings that we feel in spring. So yeah, I'd love to hear from all of you here where you are on the globe and what you've noticed around you. Again, even as simple as in your back or front yard. Some of these magnificent pictures here that I was sharing with you, you see them on front yards, people's front yards just covered. And so we don't have to go too far out. And so I want to hear from you. What are the changes around you that you're seeing? And then how can you, incorporate this and find this new balance in your lifetime for the business, for your own progress? Yeah, whatever kind of touched you. I see lots of comments coming in. I often get distracted and see. So SAP is running up here in Canada. Okay. That's awesome. Yes. Maple syrup. How we use maple syrup all the time. What just those trees and the energy that they give and how magnificent it is, and to see how just life comes out of them. And then we can enjoy that too. That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. Let's see, any hands going up? Or I can talk on forever. There's no problem on that. But I know Eddie usually has stuff to say. We got Shock. Here's Shock.
Talk to me, Karen. So I kind of just wanted to, tag in here and comment on you bringing up the fact that it's spring, and now that the sun is in Aries. We are now in Aries season, and it's a season of fire and initiating new ways of doing things, or birthing new creations, or things of that nature. Me personally, I'm a Capricorn. I don't have any Aries in my chart at all. So this season's been affecting me in like a weird way. I definitely have noticed that there's a lot more people outside There's a lot less clothes on. There's a lot, there's a lot of stuff, like a lot more activity, in this, season of fire. And with that too, there's new fruit, but not all fruit is worth the squeeze or the eat. Man, today I feel like, with this new energy, well, I woke up late today and missed my workout. And I'm super upset about it. But it's not going to beat me. I'm still going to do my routine and everything. But yeah, just keeping in mind that we're in a new season with new energies. And I felt a shift in the energy like back on like the 18th. But yeah, the sun officially went into Aries. So yeah, Aries is the god of war. And so I'm not sure how this change is affecting all of you, but to me, I'm looking out for all of what could get in the way of your progress. You know what I mean? What could get in the way of you bearing fruit through this low-hanging system? You know what I mean? And to make sure that you stay on your routines, and that you planted good seeds in the winter for them to germinate in this time. And if you didn't, you still have a chance to plant good seeds and make this a nice spring and emergence out of the cold. So I don't know. I just kind of want to talk to y'all and say that. But thank you for bringing up this topic.
Yes. We didn't talk about planting seeds. I love it, Shaq. Thanks for the reminder.
And it's perfect because this is the low-hanging system. It's a reference to low-hanging fruits. You know what I mean? So it's very important that we plant good seeds and take advantage of what we have here in this system here. So.
And it's good seeds not only in our garden. No, I love that. It's so important because it's so important to remember what you plant is what you sow. That's what you're going to gather. You plant cherry tomato seeds, you can't go to the garden and expect to pick strawberries, right? So it's the same thing in our mind. If we're planting these thoughts of, oh, it's hard, or I can't do it, oh, this is frustrating or whatever, those are the seed, that's the fruit that you're going to be picking. Exactly. And so if we plant these positive seeds, if we make sure that we're taking care of what we're putting in our garden, what we're putting in our minds, what we're planting in our hearts, and how we're interacting, in the world, then definitely we will then reap the things that we want. We will gather what we want. So thanks for that reminder.
Definitely. All right.
All right, Eddie, there we go. Hand is up. I'm happy. I was getting worried, Eddie.
Well, I always want to give other people an opportunity to speak, but they're remiss in it. I step in. But spring always exciting to me because I spent all my winters waiting on spring. Oh, it's such a beautiful thing. Because all the beautiful thing it brings. Yeah. As you can see, it makes me want to sing. I'm looking outside here, but spring always reminded me of my childhood. We had such freedom. I mean, I woke up, I would wake up at like 8 years old at the sound of a buzzsaw. The man next door to me had a full farm. Now, I live in the city, right on the outskirts, but he had a farm. And you could hear that, this huge saw. And he's putting these huge logs on this ramp. And you can hear, he's making huge plank boards. And this guy was an icon in the neighborhood. And so when he passed a few years ago, his daughter asked me to be part of the eulogy at his funeral. I say, now, you don't want me to do that. Come on. Yes, I do, Eddie. I say, how this is a funeral. You know how much I talk. She said, I want you to do that. Now, I'm not joking. I get there and I talk about this man, because this man changed all our lives. I mean, I'm serious. I rode hogs as a child. Rode them. I mean, bull hogs. And to throw you over in the mud. We had He had these bulls, these cows, they had guineas, they had chickens. We chasing the chickens. We raised biddies, and I realized animals know you. Even little biddies. They grew up to be bantam roosters, and they were fierce. If you touch one of my sisters, those things will peck you and and I said, oh my gosh. It was so exciting those times. And that's what I think about every time I see spring, because it brings everything back around. And you sit around and you see the plants. I mean, come on. Anybody had some juicy honeysuckle? We used to, and just, oh gosh. And you just went out there and plums. You got to go in Walmart and buy plums now. When I was coming along, Walmart, forget that. Wasn't no Walmart. You just go out there and get all off the trees. It's just there. Like they say, the low-hanging fruit, it was there. People had pear trees. And I was talking to somebody last time about pear preserves. I mean, I'm talking about 8 years old now, 8, 9, 10. We just spent our time. We went in water holes and I walked around in cut off jeans and a raggedy t-shirt, barefooted all the time. Just making homemade weapons. We made we called them bow and arrows, but they were bow and arrow. Couldn't say bow and arrow, they had the bow and arrow. Trying to, all this kind of stuff, slingshots, and it was the most exciting time of my life. And then I had to run in the house and draw some comics or something to talk, drawing what I saw. That was my childhood, and I cherish those times. So every time I look out and see spring, that's what I start thinking about. But I'm going to end this on the strangest way. I'm looking at a Shaq here, and he's talking about he's a Reiki healer. Now, see, that stunned me. Would you have looked at him and thought that's what he was? Come on, think about all the stereotypes you have. And I mean, just like me, you'll say, well, Eddie, he look like somebody could talk. But I promise you, if you want to do something with spring, always start not judging people by what they look like. Don't even throw that out the window. I'm looking at the chainsaw man do like this. Have you ever seen somebody do a chainsaw to something? I'm looking at somebody, he made it look like a tiger with a chainsaw. I said, oh my God, look at that. That's a tiger. This is what the cycles are all about. Get excited about life, because when them things spring up, these blossoms and all this, we're supposed to spring up. I'm 65. I wish I could roll around on the hogs again. Of course, they end up, in Walmart in a strange way. But, but it's still the most beautiful time of our lives. And I'm thanking y'all, I'm looking around because spring means spring cleaning, and I need to do it because I got all my drawings and all my writings and everything right. And I wouldn't dare let y'all see up in here because I spend my winters just doing. And now I got to clean it up so I can mess it up again. So y'all have a great day. I enjoyed it. Spring to the thing and go ahead and sing.
I love it, Eddie. I love it. When I went to Europe, I spent some time in Europe, lived there for a little bit. One of the things that blew me away was that you had all these fruit trees just on the highways, in the fields. You could go pick cherries, pick pears, pick apples. It was unbelievable. And I was like, why don't we just put fruit trees all over? Why anything else, and just have it, those, of course, they just grow. So I totally understand what you're saying. And actually, in Israel, a little bit after one of the cities did that, they did a project where they just put like orange trees and all this in the middle of the city so that everybody could just come and pick, and olive trees are all over. So yeah, very interesting. Thanks, Eddie, for your share. We had a glimpse of your childhood. That was awesome. And you know what, that's exactly what this gathering is about. We share our points of view and how we see life and how we see the seasons. And I love that somebody put in that chat, I needed to hear that. Thank you. It's like these little things that we just share with others that come from our heart, come from what we're feeling right now, that inspire others and help each other on their journey. So we always appreciate when you share, Eddie. Thank you. Alec, San Francisco is still in the background there.
San Francisco was that was a very interesting time of my life.
All right.
That was a very, very interesting time. But actually, now that you bring up San Francisco, that actually brings back a memory that I had. Thanks to Shaq. So thank you, Shaq. I was at I was at school one day, and I was with a friend of mine, and I was just burning match after match, and she comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, I take it you're an Aries, right?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, how do you know? And she was like, "Because you're burning matches." And I was like, "And that makes me an Aries?" And she was like, "No, but that's kind of one of your signs." And me, I just winters have always just been very bad times of the year for me. They're just not, I just always feel like very glum, very cold. And then the spring comes around, and I am a spring baby. So not just that, but so I was diagnosed, which you know about now, but apparently this is actually the the month for MS patients, March is actually an MS month, which I didn't know about till just not too long ago. And so they sent me a sticker, which I posted on one of my pictures. And yeah, like, just going outside, because I've been doing my walk and everything every day. The other night, I was up till like 3 in the morning, did not have a chance to do my workout in the morning because I woke up later. And I just felt terrible all day. Like, no, this is what, like, I woke up this morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, which I do like to do now. Well, it hasn't always been that way, but which I really do like to do. And, 6 o'clock in the morning, do a workout, be done by 6:30, 6:45, maybe the tops, get something to eat, have my coffee, and then go about working on my business, which I did today, and did not even realize before this conversation that I did that all this morning, not even knowing that I was doing it. Like, it was willingly done, which I actually felt was very, very fantastic, especially for me. Like, you all just really helped me realize and understand a lot more about, well, how you were talking about the spring and everything. I'm from Texas, so I do love the heat. It's 60 degrees and I feel like it's too cold, but if it's 90 degrees, it's like, hey, you know what? Now it's time to go do something. You know what? Let's go outside. You can worry about everything else at night, but right now it's hot outside. I'm sweating. Let's go get something done. So just the other day, I started sweating outside. Like, I went to go cut the grass. Usually had a friend of mine come and do it. And I was out there just cutting the grass, and it felt good. Had some other stuff happen, which still very unsure about. But this is I really do feel like, winter is a time for people to plant good seeds. Spring comes around, which spring is my time of year. And it's go outside season. So it's go sweat, go do something. And real quick, I know I've heard John talk about like shaving and everything, or you're doing stuff. I grew up always wanting a beard. I cannot grow one completely, but I grew up with facial hair just being known as, you know what? You're from Texas. That's what men do. So with that, I will let Miss
Colette.
Colleen or Colette, sorry. Sorry. I will let Miss Colette have the floor, and y'all have a fantastic day.
Awesome. Thanks, Alec. That was awesome to hear that you love the spring and that the weather excites you as well to get outside. I often do the same, okay, it's sunshine, it's hot, we're gonna put everything to the evening time. When the sun goes down, we'll just deal with it then, and let's do our outdoor stuff. So and with our business, we can do outdoor stuff and still get things done. So it's really, really awesome. So thanks for sharing that. And I didn't know it was MS month, so we acknowledge you, we love you, and we're rooting for the best possible outcome for you. So you've got our support. Colette, let's hear for you.
I'm not too sure how to make my screen bigger, so please forgive me. Everybody can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, and thanks, Alec. I always like listening to your stories. So you sound like you're a strong guy. And anyway, like, yeah, all the changes in spring, like, I just think, the last 2.5 years and what everybody's been going through. And we had a lot of restrictions lifted in Alberta, like with the masks and everything. And I myself, I don't know if anybody knows, but I'm a healthcare worker. And I've been in palliative care. So this is all end of life care. And I've worked in this field for next month will be 13 years. And I just think of spring, like now, like all the changes everybody's been going through. I just think like, wow, I'm ready for change. The last 2.5 years have been so difficult, and myself, like, I go out now and it's like, I see, some of us are still wearing masks in the stores. Myself, I'm not ready to give up a mask yet. Other people have taken them off, and, I just think, well, I think I'll be ready for change when I'm ready, but the spring, everything just feels so fresh. And I woke up early this morning, but I mean, early, it's like 8 o'clock is not early, but usually I wake up at 5 a.m. to get ready for work. And I just came off of 3-day shifts, and these are all like 12-hour shifts. So I'm working from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. at my job. And sometimes in Alberta, we get like these freak snowstorms, and all of a sudden they're gone in like 10 minutes time. And I can't believe, like I said, like a lot of the changes that have gone on in the last 2.5 years, but now the spring, I'm so excited. I just welcome the change, and I just feel like, everything's better. So I will pass it along to somebody else. Thanks for letting me talk.
Awesome. No, great to hear from you, Colette. Really, really great. And it's always interesting to hear from someone else's point of view. Here in Texas, we're so open and everything is almost forgotten. So, to hear what you're going through and how you're overcoming it, but that you're still able to, acknowledge the springtime, and that it is a time for change, and that you're slowly at your own pace, finding your own entry to that is really, really awesome. And of course, the work that you do and, your dedication is very admirable and inspiring. So thank you for sharing your story. We appreciate that. Stu.
Hey, Karen, how are you?
Great to hear from you. Look at that house in the background. Looks good.
Yeah, that was my house I just moved from, but it was the only spring picture that I had. So, so talking about spring, things I'm looking forward to is the farmers markets opening up again after being, frozen all winter up here in Canada anyways. Love going to the farmers market, all the fresh produce. We used to have a table at the farmers market to sell our art and that sort of stuff. But one thing I'm looking forward to this year is getting my shoes off and getting my feet in the dirt, because it is so healing. Have anybody heard of earthing?
Earthing, grounding, yes, for sure.
Yeah, apparently that's a big thing, and it has excellent benefits. Just laying down on the ground, and thinking about the earth and the energy that the healing energy that it passes on to you, and it's the same stuff that the trees and the flowers are getting, right? So I made it. I've never been one to take my shoes off outside. I've always had, I have a pair of shoes for everything. I'm worse than you ladies, I tell you. And I won't go outside unless I have the proper shoes on for whatever that day is. But the last year I made it a point, because I just moved up here to Midland, and I was staying at my son's house for a while, and they're right on the beach. And I made it a point to walk that beach every morning in my bare feet.
Good.
And what a difference I felt. It's just, not to mention, when I first started, I understand what they mean by tenderfoot. I could step on a mushroom and it would hurt, right? So by the end of the summer, my feet were getting toughened up. My son can run down a gravel driveway, and I'd be ooh ah, right? So there's a lot of benefits to getting in touch with the earth. So that's my 2 bits, Karen.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Stu. Really, really important. That's always my little son's excuse. He'd walk out of the house on a sidewalk or whatever, right? Not even on the ground, but he'd go out barefoot, and I'd be like, well, don't you want to put your shoes on? He's like, I'm connecting to the earth, mother, because of how I would explain it to him, like because we would take off shoes and do all the things. So he always, still today, he's 11, he gets away with it. So we do a lot of things barefoot in our house. The more barefoot, the better. So I totally agree with what you're saying. And it really is, a profound thing, even if, again, we don't have to go too far out in the woods or go on an expedition or anything. Even the grass at your house or wherever, if you just sit down, if you just ground, if you just take off your shoes and just spend some time, even like marketing wise, now they're coming out with all these grounding blankets and all these things, that they put in a frequency that helps you out and all these things. So it really is science. It's not just some made up thing. But you need to spend some time there. It doesn't automatically happen. Usually within 20 minutes or so, you really get that shift in your mood and your energy. So that was a great example. Thanks, Stu. Leroy.
Yes.
How are you doing today? Welcome.
I'm doing well. Thank you. Just I want to tell Eddie that I can relate completely with him. As a child, we had multiple fruit trees in our backyard, but we would climb the fence and go to neighbors and take their fruit.
It's always greener on the other side.
I guess, but I really want to talk about this season in my life, and this is a new birth. I'm 64, about to be 65. I retired in 2018, and I was able to do so because of some earlier investments. But my wife wasn't able to retire just yet to keep our health insurance and whatnot going on. Well, low-hanging fruit is my vehicle to retire her before she's my age. We're 3 years apart. I'm 3 years older. And that will be our new birth. We have rental properties. Low-hanging fruit will provide the funding to get additional properties such that she can retire without our lifestyle, the money she makes. My plan is to equal her salary, her annual salary plus benefits, such that we can cover our insurance, we can cover our vacations, we can do the things that this new life will make possible. And so my motivation is not just to retire her, but to create generational wealth for my kids and their kids. So I have big dreams. And so my motivation is going to get me through the rough times. I won't make excuses. I'll make adjustments where necessary to keep moving forward.
That's beautiful. That's great. And just by your share, Leroy, you have a clear goal set ahead of you. You have your why. You're acknowledging that the road is going to be ups and downs, and there are going to be challenges, but that you are going to, get through it. You're going to persist, and you're going to show up, and you're going to be consistent, and you will then see the benefits that you want. And that's exactly what you need in order to be successful. See the clear picture, know what you're working towards, and take active steps every day to get there, so
Every day, yes.
every day. Wow, we welcome you to the community. Great to have you. Awesome
Thank you.
to hear from you. We got
Thank
Carol
you.
Ann, and we'll wrap it up for today. Carol Ann, great to see you.
Hi, everybody. I enjoyed the sharing, and I have to admit, at first I even thought, oh, I should just go do something else, because I realize I'm so purpose oriented. I mean, I like to have fun, but really, if there's a purpose or I identify one, I'm much more content with whatever I'm doing. So it was great to listen to everybody and to focus, and your backdrop just is magnificent. And I loved your story about Texas, because really I've never been there except in the airport flying somewhere else. And so I didn't know that Texas had all of the color and everything. So that was great. And I just wanted to say I think it's really good to acknowledge the change in rhythms and in the time, and even to allow yourself kind of to go with it, so that like Leroy was just talking and telling us, I like his strength and around the business and his intentions. He demonstrated that, and Leroy, thank you for that. But I really like too that Alex and Colette were really open about what they're have been through, but now segueing into the spring gives us all that new opportunity to really switch kind of to change our way of thinking, and then change our way of being, and then to give ourselves some time to play. So anyhow, thank you very much for today.
That was a fantastic summary. You did it. You did it all for me here. You summarized it all beautifully. And I love that it resonated with you, and that you're able to see and find your own rhythm within this new heartbeat, within this new change. And it really is, it's important to see ourselves connected, not only to each other, but to the seasons, to the things that are outside of our grasp, to the stars, to the planets, things that are, far away and very close. And so that way we really stretch our mind and make sure that we are constantly in this process of change and growth. Because, if we're not growing and we're not changing, we know what that kind of leads to. And so, just all of you being here, being brave to tackle a new business and welcome this change into your life. I honor each and every one of you for that. So thank you, Carol Ann. And we will wrap it up. So great to see all of these new students. Eddie, I didn't hear from Patricia. I was wondering the same myself. Every time I come in and she's not here, it's like, where is she? I might send her an email now that you kind of brought that up as well. After this meeting, I'm going to close it off. I'm going to end this meeting, and usually the community gathers afterwards. So if you want to get some help from your community members, just hop back into this meeting and you can ask some questions, some how-to questions, technical questions that we don't talk about on this meeting, but the students love to help each other out. So you could do that. I bid you all farewell. See you here on Thursday, and you have the fabulous John Lavinia here tomorrow. So join at the same time wherever you are on the globe.